Hey guys, I'm CG Smoothie and I'm a big fan of Nintendo. I was watching CodyCantEatThis remake Pokemon Red and Blue in 3D, and I thought it would be cool to do that with Kirby before Nintendo could release the much anticipated Kirby and the Forgotten Land in March. Initially, I had attempted to do this using the voxel art style and magic of voxel like Cody does, but then I realized that would be extremely hard and looked very scuffed beyond all belief. Luckily, I've already made 2 videos on making Kirby models and have had some animations from those videos that would work for this project. I scrapped the voxel art demon and used my Kirby model and repurposed the animations to work in a gameplay environment. Then I brought over my tomb shader from my last good game, Finger Frenzy. I've also made 2 games since my last game development video, a tic-tac-toe game and this dungeon game that I was excited about but didn't really get around to finishing, although I did learn a lot from it. The theme does slap. I imported the walk and run animations from the Kirby model and slapped a basic third-person character movement script to the model and added a third-person camera from the built-in Unity Cinemachine package. The animations weren't really cooperating, but I realized that was due to this little setting called loop pose not being ticked on. Now that I had this Kirby working in a very basic scene, I wanted to have him inside of an actual level. Of course, I absolutely had to use green greens from Kirby's first adventure on the Game Boy. So, I modeled out the level's land chunks, gave them 2 snazzy materials, and then made the weird hoop things and the new Super Mario Bros.-esque World Hill things. Kirby was looking really weird without any jumping or falling animations, so I decided to make the animator more complicated with more blend trees and transitions. I also animated the puffed up version of Kirby's jump, but hadn't actually written it in code yet. So how about we looked at that together? In the Game Boy games, Kirby is able to puff up and fly forever, but in the Smash Bros. Series, Kirby can jump for a bit before his jumps lose power and he falls back to the stage. I have a feeling Kirby in the Forgotten Land will use more of a Smash Bros. Style jumping, as level design would be really hard with an unlimited amount of space that Kirby can traverse. As a matter of fact, we can see in the announcement trailer for the game that Kirby's jump is limited in height, and we only really see him high up in the air when he's on his Warp Star. With the new Wispy Wood style boss featuring attacks mostly on the ground, I can't imagine the developers would let players fly too high away from the battle. So I went with the Smash Bros. Style jumping. To achieve this, I checked every time the jump button was pressed. This would add a tick to the jump count and would tick down the jump height by a constant I called jump atrophy. Once the amount of jumps since hitting the ground was more than 6, Kirby would be out of jumps and would revert to normal gravity, and an animation of him falling panicked would play. Sometime during that, I also added this pink and orange skybox resembling a sunset. The controls also felt off and were incredibly hard to play with, but I fixed that by inverting the camera on the X and Y, and now it felt better to tinker with. To finish the project off, I added the hills and hoops and gave them some color variation. Unlike the Game Boy game, the hoops and hills would actually be within the level, and Kirby could interact with them, because I didn't know how to make them be visible and present without being in the void. That's it for this project so far. I like how it's looking right now. If you guys want to see more, let me know in the comments, and next time I'll add enemies and copy abilities. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe too, so you won't miss the next episode if it appears. This project won't be available to the public because as much as I love them, Nintendo does love to take legal action against any fan project of their franchise. But with every episode, I will show you how I made it. Of course, if you want to suggest anything in particular, make sure to join my Discord with the link in the description and leave a suggestion using the suggestions thread. I love to hear everything you guys want, and it doesn't just have to be about this Kirby project. My itch.io page is also in the description, so check out those games, as well as all the tools and music I used while making this video. With that, I'll see you guys all later, and check out these other videos of mine YouTube thinks you'll like.